Hey, what's up, Gemini? Welcome to this timeless general tarot reading for you. As usual, all typical disclaimers are assumed. All non-typical disclaimers are asserted. I'm not responsible for you misusing truth imparted by this reading that is not meant for you. With that being said, if you would like to skip to the actual drops, make sure that you check the timestamps below, just in case your patience starts to wear thin with my ramblings on as I wait for cards to shuffle. So with that being said, I am just going to work on this until I see something come out. You almost had the Knight of Pentacles there wanting to flip out. As you may know by now, I'm not a fan of drawing cards off the top. I don't really feel like I have the emotionality down to actually succeed with that. Other people can time it much better than I can. It doesn't feel right to me. So what I do is I wait for a very clear message through the cards dropping out, the cards flipping over. Or the cards, if they're protruding far enough out, I can take them as well. So that being said, some reads drop cards faster than others. Page of Swords reverse trying to flip out there. There's other reads where, like, by now there's multiple cards. And then there's reads where, okay, so you have one card here. So you have the Lovers in reversed. Interesting because the Lovers used to be called the Choice. There's a duality here, which is Gemini energy. So it's interesting that I'm not sure if the Lovers is a Gemini card, but it wouldn't surprise me since it's got the duality going on there with the two people. So that's very interesting. And dang, so like another thing I'm starting to notice with my reads is that they are, I hate to use the word negative, but they aren't all sunshines and rainbows. Sometimes these reads they're very often about, dang, the Page of Swords did come out in reverse. They are about things that are holding you back, typically. Most of my readings are about things that you need healing with, or you need healing from. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. The closest thing to sunshines and rainbows is every once in a while the reading will suggest that there are ways to deal with the problem. Here's another card for you. Dang. Another sword card, which I think is your energy anyway. Wow. So we managed to get you some cards here. There is the potential for some kind of failed relationship due to perhaps some kind of toxic behavior, some kind of petty gossip behavior, gossip of petty behavior. The news that you hear, the petty gossip, might actually be the fact that there's some disloyalty in the mix, which does not bode well for receiving abundance in the future. This is kind of strange. You got this card mixed energy from the Two of Wands. Interesting. I've never had a card flip out like that so far. So even though the Seven of Man, so like, yeah, it's just par for the course here with the negative energy. Sorry. 2 pages now, negative. Both of them are masculine. So toxic, like news of toxic masculinity. And there's 2 signs here that your outlook is distorted to some extent, even though you can keep some forward progress. Dang. Yeah, I don't know. If you came here for optimism, there's certainly not much going on in this read, like, at all. So, I am sorry if you're... I'm not even sure how to... It's getting tricky because the Lovers, as a romantic failure, is pointing towards some kind of petty gossip or petty behavior, illuminating you to that fact. Or perhaps this Page of Swords is the progenitor of this separation. Indirect methods is also a facet of the Seven of Swords, which is part of what the Page of Swords reversed can signify by petty gossip behind people's backs, which is like an indirect form of attacking them. So this indirect attacking of the Page of Swords, this petty behavior, is not just dealing with relationship, it's not just deterring romantic relationships, but it's also deterring the reception of abundance. And you or this Page of Swords, or whomever this is referring to, is finding themselves, their behavior is finding them losing, like, romance and material opportunity. And it doesn't look like they're learning their lesson very well. They are apt to make the same mistakes. They aren't retrospecting properly to deal with this. And it even looks like the cycle may just continue on even further. So I don't know what the deal is with the idea of toxic masculinity here, but that's essentially what the Page of Wands and Page of Swords is. Like, with the Page of Wands, there's disruptive toxicity that's disrupting the quality of these actions and the quality of these potentials that the page is inspiring. And then the Page of Swords reverse is a form of toxicity that isn't using that power of the word for good, and it's the easiest way to describe it is petty gossip. So, and then we're also looking at this thing where we've got a Page of Swords and a Page of Wands with the Lovers card. So, like, for some reason it's getting into my mind that maybe this is two men in a loving situation. Or they were anyway until this lack of energy came through. It might not even have to be romantic, although, I mean, that's a huge part of what the Lovers is that it's typically romanticizing. So this signal of romanticizing falling through, the signal of material abundance falling through, petty gossip, petty action and things not going your way, indirect, certain forms of indirection to the Seven of Swords. And then we've got this Two of Wands here mixed, so it's like the Two of Wands reverse kind of synonymizes with the Hanged Man in reverse. Okay, so we've got kind of another mixed energy here. Usually we're not running into these very hard. Or I've never ever run into these in a read yet. But they're very clearly coming out mixed. It's very, very strange. And once again, it's just more signs of confliction. So it's very weird because there's all this confliction, there's all of this negative energy, but, like, there's still this mixed capability to, like, have camaraderie and have an optimistic outlook and, like, have good qualities to stand your ground on. But I'm not seeing those. So even though the potential is there, it's not coming out in the direct energy. It's almost as if your romantic relationship is deterring your ability to channel optimism. And dang, we have another flip out here. Thanks. This is a really strange reading. Undeniably. Like, we have your duality again here. So we've got some duality showing up throughout this read, but it's just a huge sign of instability. Your outlook's managing to get clouded in many ways. It's disrupting your ability to like stand up for yourself properly to a certain extent. It's deterring your ability to enjoy social situations to the degree that they should be. So it's like your toxicity is disrupting your pleasantness and ability to unwind. Like, it's got something to do with like some sort of like really just like petty gossiping, like not very couth behavior, and there's plenty of consequences for it. Losing financial opportunity, losing romantic opportunity, losing the ability to like have your own stability and have your own outlook, have your own healthy outlook. Even though you still have that capacity to some extent, it's muddled. So it's almost like without this relationship, perhaps you would be able to do those things, but for why ever so the only thing you've got going for you here is this balance card. And typically with all of this negative energy, the call to balance is very likely a call to optimism, or it's possibly a call to some more rationality. You might be over... So this is really weird. High Priestess, but then the Hierophant in reverse. So as I was suggesting, to a certain extent, it's like... It's almost asking you to balance your intuition more and not use your... trying to think of how to describe this with the Hierophant. It's like... It's almost like thinking for yourself more and using your intuition more to make your own decisions, as opposed to doing whatever convention tells you. So maybe you do not think for yourself properly, and you try to let societal powers that be or cultural powers that be make your decisions for you. And this sort of what this is asking you to do is balance that out by making your own decisions more, by embracing your intuition more. As opposed, because apparently this, like letting these institutions do your thinking for you is causing you this instability. And perhaps that's why your relationships keep failing, because they are like institutionally driven or culturally driven, as opposed to intuitively driven from within yourself. So we're looking at 14-15 minutes, and you have had the most cards of any read so far by far. It took a second, but like the cards just have flown out for you, and have flown out for you in unique ways I've never had a read yet where the cards have flipped out sideways like this. So like, and that almost speaks to your duality again. Like, so the Gemini duality is like super dense in this reading. So I'm not sure exactly, and it's always cool when the sign comes out in the reading. I wish I had more specifics for you about exactly, like, I am curious about this Page of Wands on the end. That's the only thing that seems a little strange here. the main thing is that it would symbolize repeating patterns, past patterns again, because you aren't self-reflecting properly. And if you are imbalanced on your intuition, you are going to have trouble finding this wisdom. Especially if you're stuck in old patterns of convention, where you're trying to let society make your decisions for you. That can throw off your optimism, or that can throw off your stability, that can throw off your outlook, throw off your wisdom. And especially if it's like puts you in a relationship that's doomed to failure, that wouldn't help either. And then these toxic pages, like, it really strikes me as like just really petty toxic behavior. Page of Swords reverse, Seven of Swords, that just strikes me as petty gossip behind somebody's back. It could be even further than that. It could also be that it's gossip that's not even true. So it's like you're undermining, or you or someone, this Page of Swords is like undermining this relationship with dishonesty. And that's going to pay off with people thinking that you kind of suck, and they're not going to want to give you as much of themselves. But because you're not in your intuitive quality properly, you aren't managing to reflect on this properly. And it's like the pattern is repeating again with this Page of Wands in reverse. It's the same principle. It emerges through kind of different behavior and different energy, but the core of the energy is the same. It's toxic. It's really toxic, and it's petty. It's undeniably petty. And there's a saving grace though, that you're not completely lame to be around necessarily, is what this is suggesting. And it's not that you don't have your own ground to stand on, and it's not that you can't or don't cultivate outlook at all. But it's mixed. You're not managing to rely on it being successful as much as you might like to. And the reason it keeps coming back to here is the fact that it's the same mistakes, because your retrospection is faulty here with the Hanged Man reversed. And that's especially true if your intuition is out of balance and you are doing the wrong thing for like the wrong reasons, or your actions are not intuitively guided, they are systemically guided, systemically demanded. It's what can you do for the powers that be, not what can you do for yourself, sort of. So this is your saving grace here. There's a way out of this, and that's you've got to find this intuitive balance. And you have to retrospect. Whoops. Dang. So you had one more card fling out here. And unfortunately, it is the Magician in reverse. And I don't even have a good spot to put this card, but this is just about failing to manifest, or even manifesting toxicity. So to a certain extent, it plays in with this row here, I suppose. It's essentially just a sign of, it can mean failing, like stalling on manifestation, but because of how much toxic energy is here, there's not a lot of energy promoting stalling, besides for maybe the Hanged Man. Because of how toxic the energy is, it just leads me to believe that it's another sign of like using your manifestational powers for bad, which is what this Page of Swords reverse Seven of Swords combination would denote. It would denote that you are not using your powers for good, so to speak. You are, even though you have the ability to manifest, it's like you're doing it in ways that are quote-unquote bad. Like you are, it's to a certain extent it's dark. It's dark, the dark magician in the reverse. Dang. So you just have the cards flying out all over the place today. It's just another confirmation of emotional apathy here, which is what's being called to. At the end of the day, that's like so much of what this is suggesting, is that you need to find a better intuitive balance to figure out how to feel better. Because there's a lot of not feeling good in this energy. A lot of disappointment. A lot of toxicity. There's a lot of indecisiveness to a certain extent. And not necessarily indecisiveness, but there's a lot of inassurity with the actions you're taking. And there's a lack of stability. And like the idea that the toxicity is there, and I don't know if you're the Page of Swords or not. I don't know if you're the Page of Wands or not. But finding the strength and courage within yourself to try something new is going to help you out a ton. It is going to work wonders and wonders and wonders for you. And you'll be able to upright these energies. You'll be able to overcome this duality in a sense. You'll be able to find your wisdom. You'll be able to manifest in the light, not in the dark. You won't have to do this petty gossiping. You won't have to have this indirection. You'll be able to like receive abundance better. You can have your stability. You can get over these emotional apathies. Better outlook, better friends, better time with friends. When you stand your ground, you won't have as much toxicity that makes it harder for you to defend yourself. You'll be able to be defending yourself on your good qualities more and more. And, hopefully you will be able to actually stick with one of these relationships and not lose it. So it's about, no matter how many clarifiers I keep getting here for you, it keeps coming back to the same thing. It's whomever this is regarding, there is a lot of toxicity in how they are approaching for whatever reason. It's very specifically talking about romantic relationship. And the petty behavior of conniving action behind the back of the lover is tarnishing your reputation. And it is disrupting your balance in your life. And it's not, the universe isn't giving any signs here that you should be validated in acting like that. All of the negativity that is surrounding this is due to you, because you are, or maybe not you, but whomever this is about, they're being ridiculous. It's acting like this is ridiculous. You're supposed to love this person and you're hurting them like this. That's ridiculous. And then like there's this lack of retrospection and you don't even feel good while you're at it. And it's like, it's affecting your life big time. Even though you're holding it together, it's not helping you at all. And you don't want to be stuck in that instability. The only thing that really is like, I'm going to flip these around, because the only thing here that is really your saving grace is there's this half notion that you are instigated in some kind of dogma system. There's this half notion that you are intricated into like some kind of maybe like a groupthink society or like a cultural normalization. There is some way that you are going with the flow of demands upon you, and you aren't embracing your own inner strength properly. So there is, maybe this is like a marriage, and maybe it's a failed marriage that you're stuck in for institutional reasons, and like you're not taken out in good ways at all. But you're also half right on the fact that, like, you're stuck in that, you're trapped in it more than anything. So that's one way to possibly see it. That's like the only saving grace here, is that maybe you feel trapped in a situation that society, or not society, but whatever social institution you subscribe to. The easy answer is of course religious, some kind of very strict religious doctrine. There's also like the modern day political scene of leftist groupthink, which is a way that allows those people to not like take up their own responsibility. Like, the government is supposed to make all their decisions for them, but that's not where you get your true inner power from. And if you're validated from your societal subscription to acting like this, then there's this weird way where, like, you're half validated in doing it, but it's still not right to do that, to act like that. And that's why there's consequences. So maybe you're half confused running through this as to, you know, you thought this was the right way to act because society says you're supposed to do this, but the problem is all of the consequences are begging to differ. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I think I'm going to cut this reading. This is what you've got here. You are being called to balance out your inner capacities to think for yourself and to embrace what's good for you specifically in communion with your higher power and with your inner light for what is really best for you. Not just trapping yourself in some kind of social dogma that is demanded of you, or that you may be comfortable in so you don't have to take up any of your own personal responsibility. But this is the call for you. You've got to balance out this inner strength of yours. If you can balance out that inner strength, there's a good shot that all of this will turn around for you. Because you'll get out of this being stuck, not adhering to a brighter way forward in your life and a better way to interact with the world and interact with those you love and care about and want to hang out with and everything. All this negativity. It might be right there for you. So that's all I've got for you at this point. Good luck with this, Gemini, and thank you for coming to this reading. This was very interesting.